okay, then you could pretty much take the same sort of angle that everyone else is using to, to get them to a meeting, and you probably do well, right? Whereas if you're not good at outreach, then you may need something, a more sort of unique selling proposition to actually get them on the meeting, right? Your sales process might be a little different. So everyone has strengths and weaknesses, but at least the fact that this is, something that's conscious to you, at least you know about it and you can keep it in mind. But copywriting, and I'm going to teach you a bunch of it very, very soon, both when it comes to outward facing and inward facing, as in like outward facing to get clients, and then also inward facing to bring, to actually service clients. Now, this skill is going to be so important for you, which is why I want you to, once I say this, pause the video and do this. In that same Google Drive folder, or just folder you have on your desktop, in that same folder where you have all of your agency navigator printouts, your sheets, anything like that, right? The SBA worksheet, whatever you may have in there. In that same folder, I want you to create a swipe file. Now, this is actually what I did for years and years when I first started learning copywriting. It was one of the reasons I was able to accelerate so quickly. Well, that plus the fact that I've always done a lot of reading. So anytime I would see a good ad on Facebook, now, as we mentioned before, we'll have Facebook feed eradicator there. So we won't really see stuff on Facebook anymore. But before I had Facebook feed eradicator, I do something like that. So instead, what you do is you go out and you subscribe to the newsletters and you subscribe to the email lists of a lot of really good marketers, right? So people who have online programs, or for example, just companies that are really good at marketing, right? So e-commerce businesses that are really good at marketing, service providers, supplement companies that are really good at marketing, right? And then go on the Facebook ads library and once again, search up some of these good marketers, marketing companies, e-commerce businesses, and just keep a folder and just download and screenshot all of the best pieces of copy you can find, right? Because then this kind of trains you to look out for what does good copy look like? What does good direct response copy look like? And that's really what we're doing when we're doing outreach, right? And by the way, it doesn't matter if you're on the phone or you're cold emailing. What you are doing is direct response marketing, right? You are trying to elicit a response. You are putting a message out there in hopes that in return, you will get a response from them. Now, as I said, you're going to get world-class copywriting training in this program, but building that swipe file over the years will be an amazing resource that you have, and it's something that you can always come back to. So ladies and gentlemen, this wallpaper is available below. Remove yourself from the cesspool and find your own voice. And as I said, this isn't something that you need to develop from day one, but the fact that it's something that's conscious to you, paired with all of the training that you're going to get very soon on outreach and how to find a good angle, how to find a good offer, how to actually structure and tailor your outreach, all this will come together. And as I said, it's something that will develop over time for you. Now let's get into law number 3. Now, law number 3 is very simple. Outflow equals inflow, right? As in the amount of outreach you do will dictate the amount of meetings that you set. And this is a concept that I read in a book many, many years ago. And it's really, I mean, if you had to digest a lot of the sales and prospecting books out there, things like Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb something, I'll get Tristan to pop up the book on the screen. But my point is, it's a very, very simple concept. And a lot of times we kind of forget this, because here's the thing. If you dial in all of the other laws that I'm telling you here, right? If you get them dialed in, at the end of the day, you could have them all perfect. But if there's not enough outflow, if you're not going out to the market and talking to the market enough, you're just not going to get enough meetings, right? So really, this is the one law where even if you're a 10 out of 10 in all the other laws, you're not going to get the desired result you want. And on the flip side, you could actually be very poor at all the other stuff and just be a 10 out of 10 in terms of your outflow, and you'll still actually get a good amount of meetings. So as I said, it is incredibly important to dial in your messaging, and all of the other laws are super important. But at the end of the day, this law is just raw horsepower, right? This is really a thing where even if all of your KPIs are dialed in, if you're not doing enough of this, you're just not going to get enough meetings. And it's as simple as that. Now, if you want a good indication as to, what to expect, right, in future, if you want to know how much inflow you're going to get, if you want to know how many meetings you can expect that month, well, look at your past KPIs, look at your outflow and what sort of inflow that has brought in, right? History doesn't repeat, but it usually rhymes. Okay, so you can look back historically to get an idea as to what sort of KPIs you need to be hitting in order to get the amount of inflow that you want. I'm actually going to show you guys how to use the outreach tracking tool, which is one of the proprietary software that we built out when we spent what felt like a living dream, right? It was just that 18 months that we worked on the platform, and it's still not even fully done yet. Similar to being the owner of a Tesla, there's updates coming out all the time, but yeah, it was one of the tools that was super important to me to build out. So I really stressed that to my team of developers at Gray Agency. So ladies and gents, as I said, you can download this right below this video. Outflow equals inflow. Let's get into law number 4. And law number 4 really is on that same point, which is track historically to predict the future. Okay. Now I know for a lot of people, one of the things that kind of keeps them up at night is like, I don't know how many meetings I'm going to get this month, et cetera, et cetera. Well, as I said, if you're doing proper tracking from day one, then you're not really worried about that because, on average for this form of outreach, and it can be different for, different forms of outreach. And that's why the outreach tracker is built the way that it is because, one form of outreach, you may need way more, you may need much more volume to get the same amount of meetings as something where you need less volume, but then actually the amount of time that it takes, to put in for this form of outreach actually could be way less than this one, right? So, and this is why it's so important to track all this stuff, okay? I think the people who are most nervous about outreach are the ones who from day one, just spray from the hip, do outreach, don't track anything. And of course, you're nervous because you have no historical data to work off of as to, hey, I need to do this amount of outreach in order to get this amount, I need this much of outflow in order to get this much inflow. And of course, you're nervous and you're like, where's the next client going to come from? Of course. And this is why I want you to track every single day using this outreach tracker that we built out here at Gray Agency, because it said, especially as time goes on and you have 3 months of data, 6 months of data, 12 months of data, 2 years of data, right? Historically, and you can also even see the peaks and troughs through different seasons of the year. And you can even see based on your niche, what are your quietest months? And you can even start to, plan those as months that, hey, maybe I want to take my annual leave, well, I guess we don't really have annual leave. We work for ourselves, but like maybe that's when I want to do my holidays, right? Or maybe that's the time where I just want to take a step back and focus on service delivery, communication, and really just tie in all the processes with a team, right? So this is why this is so important. And I'm going to go ahead and demo it and present it to you guys in just a second. So as I said, track historically to predict the future. Now that we've talked about those key 4 laws, as I said, like everything, if there's a printout, it's there for a reason. I want you to either print this out or the sort of the law that is most important to you right now, or the one that you need to keep in your mind and you feel as though you need to work on, set that as your desktop wallpaper. You can also download these and set them as wallpapers, okay? So whether you print it, whether you set it as your wallpaper, the most important thing is all of these lessons. When I go to the effort of making a wallpaper or a printout, it's because it's something that you really should keep in mind. So go ahead and print those out or set your wallpaper, whatever the case is. Now, apart from that, I'm actually gonna, hop on the computer and I'm gonna go ahead and demo the outreach tracking sheet. I'm gonna show you how to use it and come in and use it every single day. So that way, as I said, you get to a point where, once you have 6 months, 12 months, 2 years of data, your business like the back of your hand, and hey, this little tweak amounted to more meetings here.